for being here all day. This is the moment y'all been waiting for, Makers at Night, because it's unfiltered, y'all. I have to thank our partners again who are in the room because this day wouldn't have been possible without your support and help. Now on to the fun conversation. Unfiltered with two of my favorite storytellers. First, we have the powerhouse talent, Karen Pittman, y'all. A celebrated actress known for her commanding presence on both stage and screen. From the morning show to her latest success in Netflix Forever, y'all better watch it, okay? Karen has captivated audiences with her depth, grace, and unapologetic authenticity. She brings a fierce intellect to every role, using her platform to advocate for equity and representation in the entertainment industry. And then joining her is none other than Whitney Cummings. Y'all give it up for Whitney. A comedic force, creator, producer, and performer whose wit cuts through the noise. And Whitney is known for creating the hit TV series, Two Broke Girls, and her stand-up specials. She's currently touring North America on her Big Baby Tour. And Whitney is a leading voice on mental health, including how chaos leads to personal growth and the comedy of owning your own mistakes. We can't wait to hear what unfolds from these two brilliant women. Y'all give it up for Karen Pittman and Whitney Cummings. Woo!
I'll go. Hi. Hi, thank you so much. Thank you. Hi, guys. Hi. Let's go.
They cut my song off because they knew I was gonna dance.
Hi. Wow.
Hello.
I like this energy. It's kind of awkward.
Great.
We'll get through it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm drinking. I think this is actually cocaine. I'm so sorry. I needed an energy drink. Wow. Have you guys gone to all the things today? All the things. Okay, what are you sick of hearing about? What do you want to hear about? What's that? What? Eddie? What's that? Challenges we face. Let's go right into it. Because I've got my cards. Like, we have stuff we're going to ask each other, but I like that too. I like getting right into it.
Well, there are a bunch of challenges questions in here, so we're right on time with all of that.
Wonderful.
Do you want to start? You want me to start?
I'm very shy.
Okay, I see. In 3 words, how would you describe being a woman in Hollywood today?
HPV. Those are letters. In 3 words. In 3 words.
Yeah.
Broke as hell. No matter how successful you get. I do think it's interesting because it's your goal to make it in Hollywood, right? And then you make it, and then you have to fight to keep it. And once everyone knows you made it, they then go, well, you've made it. It's like, I don't have to pay you for this.
Right.
You know? Like, oh, you're a cameo, but you're you, so we're gonna you're expected to do all these favors, and you're like, well, I didn't make money for 15 years. Like, I'm not, it's a tricky thing. And
but what does making it look like? What was making
never
it?
having been to a Diddy party.
Okay.
Okay, I have made it in Hollywood. Being too much of a loudmouth to ever be asked.
Never having to go to a Diddy party is making it. No, seriously though, what is making, when were you like, oh, exhaling?
I don't know if I've ever felt that,
Okay.
you know, as a woman, especially because there's this clock, like you only have this many years left, which I feel like is kind of changing. But as soon as it was like, be very suspicious of all this timing, right? So it's, I don't know, I'm 30 and it's like, oh God, I only have 5 years left, And then 35, to a couple years ago, it's like, wait a second, hold on, Demi Moore is doing this movie and Pam Anderson is back. And you're like, hold on, women that are getting older, women writers are writing for them.
Right.
This is this renaissance. We're about to see all these, I got all the time in the world. And then AI comes along and you're like, okay, well, this isn't my favorite timing.
Yeah.
It's like when crypto came around, remember? No one thought that was weird, that as soon as women started making money, guys were like, money's over. We're like,
so
this is my money. They're like, no, money is now an invisible code in the sky. It's like, as soon as like women that, of age can be on camera, it's like, you're gonna be replaced by a computer.
Right.
So I think that also, I realized very early on that me being proud of my work is what's truly making it. So you know, you can do a job or get a job and not be proud of your work, or, you know, feel like you rushed it, or, you know, put it out before it was ready, whatever it was, and then be like, you're gonna beat yourself up. It's almost worse than never having gotten the opportunity at all.
Yeah.
If you feel like your codependence, or, you know, you being scared of the director or scared of a writer made you do mediocre work, you're then like, it's almost, I gotta prove myself. Because I embarrassed myself in front of everyone or something. So I don't ever feel like I've made it, because I do feel like, I'll just speak for us as women, I think our best work is always ahead of us. Because we know more, we're more secure with ourselves, we know ourselves more, we have less to lose. I think that right now, I very much think like, I haven't even done, you know, the thing I'm the most proud of. And have I made it? Kind of. But sometimes when you've made it, you know, people know you for that thing. So actually, the person that hasn't done anything might have a better shot at getting the chance that you want, because you're not already in a box. I got known at 26 years old, and people are, like the crazy single girl. It's like, you know, and it's like, it's hard to have to get them to change their minds about you. Like, I got them to know who I was. Now I have to get them to change their mind about me, you know, which is a wild one. But I think you really know that you made it when you say no to the opportunity of a lifetime, because it doesn't serve you, and your gut is just, even if you can't articulate it, your gut's like, this isn't right.
This is a bar. I mean, you're speaking life into me right now.
I remember, I'll say it, I got asked to do a job with Alec Baldwin. I said no, dodged a bullet.
Literally. Turn your cameras off, everybody.
Live
kidding.
stream it.
Just kidding.
I'm not scared of anyone at this point. You know, it was like, it's him, and it's, you know, you have this team of people, and something in your gut is like, this isn't right. You know, and saying no to something that your 20-year-old self would be like, what?
Yeah.
How could you ever? Because if you say something, you know, if you say yes to the wrong thing, you're not going to do your best work. If you're miscast, if you know you're being miscast, or know you're going to be scared in an environment and can't be funny and have levity, you know, that's one of the hardest things to do. But that's when I really knew I made it. I'm like, I can't even articulate why the answer's no. It's just the answer's no, and I have to trust my gut instead of go with what my ego thinks I should be doing to get ahead. What about you?
Yeah, I think for me, when I stopped campaigning.
Auditioning when you're not at an audition?
Exactly, or even on set when I just was like, you know, I'm the shit. I don't have to campaign anymore for me to do this work. I am here, I am worthy. And that took a long time for me to figure out, because you know, there is so much politics in every job. Everything you do, you're politicking as a woman. And it was a few years ago that I stopped trying to be liked as a woman, but I did feel, I stopped trying to be liked.
I love what you're saying. Can I just say, what's more unlikable than trying to make people like you? It's repellent. When someone's like, do you need anything? Do you want anything? You're just like, like, you know, it took me so long that the harder you try to be liked, everyone just thinks you're like a Scientologist. Like, no one understands. Like, why do you need me to like you?
And I also think it just undermined my, you know, when you were saying just the level of focus and a level of intentionality at my work. When I decided that I didn't want to be liked anymore, the people that I did pay attention to, who had my focus, I actually intentionally wanted to be around them. Does that make sense? I don't think I have any greater, now I know that my greatest currency in my life is my attention. Where I pay attention is very important to me. So when I stopped campaigning, and when I started being intentional with the people that I connected with, that's when I realized, you've gotten to another level, and another evolution. Because so much of our work is about politicking, I think.
And it also took me a while to go like, I don't really care if I'm liked. I can't really control that, you know? And also being a woman who has opinions, like you already are, you know, you're already pushing it. it's not about being liked, it's about being respected.
Yeah.
And liking yourself. It's amazing when someone respects themselves. We take our cues of how to treat someone else based on how they treat themselves.
100%.
And I was sending the cue, you can have my attention whenever you want.
Yep.
I'll do whatever you need. I'll be whoever you need me to be. I'll give
Right.
you all my time and energy. I'll put none of it into my own work. And the way to really be liked by the person whose approval you're trying to get is to do your best work. And they're in the edit bay going, they nailed it. Yeah, they might not have become best friends with everyone on set, but this work is amazing. And it's an energy conservation thing. It's when I was just, it took me so long to be as penurious and thrifty with my energy as I was with my money. We're always trying to save money. We're trying to save money, right? But we don't try to save time and save energy. And I started doing this thing where I break down my days into energy dollars. So I have 100 energy dollars a day, and that's all I have in the bank account. So if someone needs something from me, wants something from me, calls me, needs something, a work thing comes up, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't do, I've already spent 60 energy dollars. I don't, I still have to go out and do stand-up tonight. That's gonna be 30, and then I have to see my son. So I just don't have any energy dollars left. It's not even a choice you're making.
Yeah.
You're just going I only have a finite amount of energy. Because
Right.
I think as women, even when we're out of energy, we'll find more.
Yeah.
And give it and just martyr it onto everybody else. And our instinct to mother other people is something I have to really work hard of don't solve that person's problem. Don't mother that adult man. He's 50. He's 50, he's got an assistant. Stop caretaking that man. It's fine. And I think that especially being on sets where you see a lot of people who, their inner child can be running the show, or sometimes we'll all recreate our childhood circumstance. So for me, my version of that is to not take the bait. In any environment where someone is, being triggered by whatever, the negative qualities of their primary caretaker, or wants to gossip about someone else, or I have a big no gossip rule at work. You can come to me and tell me your feelings, but anything just negative for no reason, I have a lot of strong boundaries about that kind of stuff, and I can just say it now. I can just say I'm so sorry I don't gossip at work, almost as if it's not my idea. It's oh, sorry, it's just this.
I gossip at work terrible.
I'm
so terrible about it.
No, it's really bonding, but I think for me, it then makes me go wait a second. Can I, I just, it brings up stuff where is that person gossiping about me? It's taken me a long time to kind of just play defense and have
Detach.
boundaries.
Yeah,
just around not giving my energy to anybody who wants it, just to not have to be with myself.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, And I think that the really interesting part about that is it's taken me a long time to realize at work, I'm glad we're all at this conference, I'm glad women are coming together, but we don't all have to be friends. We don't. I would love to be friends with all of you, if we had that kind of time, but there's just no time. We can't be friends. You don't even have to like me, and we can still work together. I think I had this thing in my head, we have to be friends, we have to get along, we have to like each other. This isn't spring break, this is work. It's okay if we don't get along. And it took me so long to realize that, because I'd spent so much time and energy trying to make friends with all the girls.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I'm always looking for that sisterhood, I'm always looking for that, but it's not always there, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And it took me a long time to not force that,
Yeah. I think that camaraderie is different from friendship,
Yeah.
right? Being able to respect each other in the workplace. But I do think that how you build community is a really important thing, and it isn't always around compatibility.
Yep.
Right? Sometimes it's just, we're here, we're focused on a process. We have committed, all of us have committed to this one process, bring all of our specific processes to this one process, and we're gonna create something wonderful out of it, yeah.
This is interesting. What is a myth about making it in Hollywood that you wish we could cancel forever?
Well, we talked about being liked. I don't think that that's entirely helpful or useful. That you go it alone, I think. Making a television show or a film or a play, it's a collaborative art. So you can't be on camera without a cameraman, right? You can't be on stage in a theater without an audience. Otherwise, you're just in your room by yourself. In order to make a film, you have to have a script to read from, right? It's very much a collaborative art. And so I think that we have lived through many, decades of this idea of just sort of this rigorous independence that we all must have, and we could do it. You could do it on your own, and I can do it on my own, especially in my community, an African American community, where the majority of the households are run by single parents. That's just a fact. I was steeped in the tradition that a woman can do it if she has to do it alone. She must do it alone sometimes, and so it's been a real lesson for me, especially coming to Hollywood, where there is a community that's open to you if you choose to decide that I'm going to be a part of this land, a part of this energy, a part of this world that has brought me here, and I'm going to not just better myself in this world, I'm going to better the people around me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really makes a successful television show,
Yep.
it makes a successful career, makes a successful human, all of those things. What about you?
You know, for me, the main myth is that things have to be done the way they've always been done. Because all of the schedules and the rules were made by men that needed to cheat on their wives. And these hours are not I mean, like when I first started doing a sitcom, right? You've done a sitcom where Monday you do a table read, Tuesday you do the producer run through, Wednesday you do the studio network run through, Thursday you do like a pre-shoot where you're shooting some of the show at sets that are, not, a weekly set. And then Friday you do the live shoot at 6 p.m. When everyone's their most tired, when the script has just been rewritten, when everyone's exhausted. God forbid, if you're a mom, forget it. Forget your children ever talking to you or having a good relationship with them. It's like my thing with Lorne Michaels. I'm like, it has to be at midnight on a Saturday night. Just say you don't want moms to work there. Just say it. It's fine. Like when hours are made so that women can't say yes to the gig, it just drives me nuts. Like when people are like, there's only 4% of movies are made by female directors. I'm like, can you get me the statistic of how many women were asked and they had to say no because they couldn't go to New Zealand for 8 months?
Right.
Like try shooting it here and having the hours be somewhat reasonable, and let's see how many women can actually say yes.
Yeah.
So these hours are just wild, and I just thought it was so crazy that on Friday night the actors were scrambling. They had just got a brand new script. They're at their most exhausted, and I was like, could we do the table read on a Wednesday, and then the producer run through Thursday, and the network run through Friday, and then the actors will have the weekend to learn the new script and rest, and then we could do it Monday and Tuesday? And do we have to shoot it at 6? Can we shoot it like 2:30 so that the moms can be here? And they said yes. If they said no, fine, I would have gotten through it. But I think that it sometimes doesn't occur to us that this business or this thing, this dream we've always wanted is broken.
Yeah, you can ask for it.
It might be broken, or there might be something obsolete or outdated.
Yeah.
You might be able to go like, maybe. Don't underestimate the power of fresh eyes. Don't underestimate the power of knowing nothing, because then you can come in and see the flaws in something or how something can be optimized. In our business, like work just starts at 10 a.m. for no reason. Like, what? I mean, fine. If you even go into the office anymore, which is so wild, we should talk about that. But 10 a.m., that means a mom has dropped off their kid at 8. What is she going to do from 8 to 10? And then she has to pick up their kid at like 2:30. So I was like, could we start at 9? Can we start at 9 a.m.? Is that cool? Like, how many Soul Cycle classes do you need to do before work?
Right.
By the time
0.
it's 10, I'm ready for my first nap of the day,
Yeah.
And really collaborating with a writer's room and not doing what you've always seen, because what's always been done is pretty toxic.
Yeah.
And pretty not okay in terms of how humans should be treated. It used to just be, at least in comedy, you go in at 10 and you just work till 2 in the morning.
Oh no.
Oh yes, everyone's on their phone. My thing was like, guys, and you want to do it in a team way, because I'm happy to be wrong. I don't care whose idea wins as long as it's the best idea. I experimented in a writer's room with going like, guys, do you want to not have phones? If someone calls, if you need to just go, like the way you take a smoke break, if you need to just go outside and take a social media addict break, you can totally leave the room and do that. But while we're in here, what if we just didn't have phones? You can step out whenever you want, and I can get you guys out by 3. I can get you out by 3. But just, it's on me to give people the permission to be able to do that because we're all just like addicted to the scrolling and nothing's actually getting done. It's this false sense of work. I was like, what if we try for deep focused work? How about instead of an hour lunch break, psychologically an hour lunch break, you're gonna go run errands, you're gonna go get your contact lenses, and you're not actually eating lunch.
Right.
So I'd find that people would come back and they would be eating while we were working.
Right.
And snacking, and I'm like, you haven't actually eaten. It's my job to make sure you eat.
Right.
You know, and it's my job to make sure I get you home because I don't have any stories. If you don't go home, I need you to go fight with your wife. I need you to go fight with your girlfriend.
Right.
Live
life.
I need you to go find out your boyfriend's cheating on you. You know, for art to imitate life, we have to have a life.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure that the artists that I work with are having a life instead of just sitting in a writer's room all day because the guy that runs the show has a bad marriage and he just wants to be here till 2 in the morning. Like, it's just, you know, so, you know, you always want to collaborate with everybody and make sure, but it's amazing how often people go like, yeah, I would love that. Like, is that even possible? Like, we don't have to work weekends, you know? Because I like to work really hard and fast instead of just kind of all day while also looking at phones.
Yeah, phones.
And I also think that we're in a business where a lot of us probably, whether we didn't have parents around or our inner child is running the show, it sometimes doesn't occur to us to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
We're the messy artists. You know, we smoke and we like date toxic people and we stay up late and whatever. Like, it's okay to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
It's okay to take care of your brain. That's your, you know, that's your tool. You know, we have to sleep. We have to take naps. If you have a headache, you gotta go home. If you're sick, you have to go home.
Yeah.
If you're
Take
tired,
care
you
of
have to
yourself.
sleep. That's punk rock. It used to be in our business, it was like punk rock in the 80s was like doing blow and staying up all night. Now it's punk rock is doing the opposite, I think. It's like taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get me to do a cleanse, but you know.
Right.
Certain things, I'm not doing Kegels, but I am
do
gonna
the
make sure I
Kegels.
sleep.
I do the Kegels.
That's why that finger looks like that and this finger looks like that.
Okay, you gotta, I don't know what happened. Okay, I have a question for you. How do you protect your authenticity, such a good question, in a system that's built on image?
Do you wanna go first? No one's gonna like my answer on this.
No, I think you probably have a very strong opinion. It sounds like you have a very convicted opinion, and we should probably hear it.
I just think that in terms of authenticity, like anything, there's going to be certain people that use a word or a notion or a term as an excuse to be an asshole. You know, when someone's like, does something rude and is like, I'm just being authentic. And you're like, no, that's called rude. That's different. You know, that's called, no, you're lying. You're like, what? So I think that authenticity is this tricky thing where we can, you know, hoodwink ourselves and going, look, I'm just being authentic. It's like, but you also didn't prepare. You know, like you also want to prepare. And, you know, I think that a lot of this next generation thinks being authentic and just showing up as themselves is all they have to do.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the case. That's not the case for me. I have to work really hard. I have to write jokes. I have to think it through. I cannot just walk into a room and just show up with my authentic self and nail it. I just can't at the moment. Maybe that'll change. I also think that as women, we tend to give too much to everyone, you know? And I've learned that we gotta keep some stuff for ourselves. We gotta protect our vulnerability a little bit. I think it took so long for us to be able to get vulnerable. Spaces like this have really helped it, but there's certain situations that aren't safe for your authenticity.
Yeah.
There's certain spaces where it's maybe not the time to be authentic.
So you protect it by sometimes just not going into certain spaces.
Or say, yeah, or just some kind of like, you know, I'm just gonna listen more here. You know, it's more my nature to talk, but like this is more a dynamic where I'm gonna listen and I'm gonna kind of do research and I'm gonna think before I speak. And I might kind of, you know, curate what I say around this person. And curate what I say around this person. Because you can never take something you said back, but you can always say it later. And I, for a long time, I think, put my foot in my mouth because I'm like, I'm just gonna say the thing that everybody's thinking right now. And it's like, I didn't need to be the one.
Right.
I didn't need to be the one to do that. You know, of course everyone was thinking it, everyone's grateful I said it, but then, you know, I think we all should just make sure that we know we can protect our reputation, we can protect our role. Because then, if you're the one, you know, I guess maybe I'm conflating authenticity with like being, you know, the outspoken person who's gonna speak up if something is off, then you're that person.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have to keep being that. I'm like, I just want to decide if I want to be the person on this job that's going to try to be everybody's hero and that's going to solve every problem.
Yeah.
You know, I want to reserve the right to like choose what role I'm going to have in this space. Is that making any sense?
It does. I mean, I think for me, authenticity is not. It's kind of a tricky question because it's either being authentic or in some way reflecting an image of
Got
whatever
it,
you
pretending.
want. Yeah, pretending, right? And so I think it's really tricky as an actor, certainly as a woman in an industry where you have to present yourself, where you have to perform. It becomes even harder if you have a tiny bit of notoriety or any sort of fame, because then you're performing, you don't know when you're supposed to perform, and then someone comes up to you like, performance mode. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
It happens sometimes by choice. So I go to my daughter's school, I perform a little bit, right? I'm like, yes, I'm Miss Pitt, you know what I mean, or whatever. But it's, I think the way that I maintain authenticity is really just to stay connected to people that I think are authentic. Friends, my kids keep me very grounded. And, you know, image is a very tricky and fickle thing. My publicist will tell me, don't worry about that photo because there's going to be another photo coming in right behind it. Just going to wipe out whatever you don't like. And that's just really true. I mean, you can, you know, there's another day to be something or someone that you are inspired or aspire to be in every moment. And so
You're making me think, okay, well, I am authentically illiterate. I don't know the definition of the word authentic. But I do think that I have made a couple mistakes under the guise of me being like, well, I'm being authentic, you know?
Right.
And in my field, it's, you know, it gets a little bit tricky. Thank you. The voices in my head are talking to me. That's the producer. And the other ones will never shut up. I think that something that you made me realize that is very worth saying is that a big part of me being authentic is telling the truth. And the big thing with that often means you have to say, I don't know. And it took me so long to realize that if you say, I don't know, you're not an idiot. It actually makes everybody think you're way smarter when you don't know the answer, right? Because they're like, oh, now that you said you don't know this, now I can trust everything else that you do know because you've said I don't know.
Interesting.
Or I need more time. I need to think about it. I'm not ready. To me, authenticity is not giving someone an answer before you're prepared, not committing to something before you're prepared. Because we're always in this pressure cooker, and people have all these questions for you. What do you want to wear? This line, and where do you want to be? Just to be able to say, like, I need a second. To be able to know what you need and then ask for it. I authentically need more time to answer this question.
Right.
I authentically don't know the answer. Can I have a minute? Can I let you know in a couple days? And I think that vulnerability of being able to admit there's something I don't know, it turns out. You know, how could we know anything? We're all getting news, and I would know, you know, no one knows. How could anyone know anything at this point? So to me, feeling like I don't have to know everything all the time, or be the smartest person in the room, or worrying people are going to think I'm dumb or not qualified, that is a big part for me about authenticity. But I also, I think, made a mistake in really presenting who I was or who I thought I was at a young age, because I started, you know, being forward-facing when I was, you know, in my early 20s, and then growing, but saying like, oh, well, but I have to stay that person that everybody. I don't want them to think I'm inauthentic, because I'm growing and maturing. You're also allowed to authentically grow and mature, and be a different person every day with new information if you decide. You know, so that might seem like fake or something, but you're like allowed to grow, and you're allowed to say, I made a mistake. Yesterday I thought it should be this, but today I actually thought about it, and it's actually this. I was wrong. You know, I think that's really like, you know, where the good work comes in, and that's where we're really able to, you know, do our best work, because you're not betraying yourself.
Yeah.
Little things like that, they might think, oh, she knows everything, cool. Whoever thinks that is a loser. But like, you'll always know that you kind of faked it. And that slowly degrades our self-esteem. It slowly degrades our integrity, and we're the ones that have to live with it, you know? So I find that, you know, doing the right thing when no one's watching is a big one, and just like always telling the truth, even if it means like, I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
The smartest people you know say, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, that took a minute for me.
No, good. I have 2 minutes to do
hold on.
our 2-minute, fast-paced first answer that comes to mind.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
Let's try. Okay, I'm going to give you 11 of these, and you must answer them. Yes,
Should we do this one?
Which one?
What's the advice? And we'll do this
Oh,
also.
what's the advice?
What's the advice we would give to women entering the industry that you actually wish someone gave you? I feel like that's a good one we should do.
What's the advice I would give a woman?
That's entering the business.
Oh, yeah. Well, I say this often.
Don't marry Ryan Reynolds.
Don't marry Ryan Reynolds. I never say that. The advice I would give is to choose yourself. Choose you. Choose you. I say this often. Choose you every time. You know, if it's down between what you want to do and what somebody else wants to do, choose you. Too many times in my career, I've handed over the power of what I need to do in a scene, power of what I need to do with my career. Do I need to take this job? Do I need to leave that job? Too many times I've done that, and I really, I really didn't put enough weight on my own truth, on what I needed for my vision of myself in the industry. I think that it isn't about, I didn't do what was right for me. I really do believe in abundance. I don't believe in scarcity. I don't believe in lack. I think that any mistake that we make ends up correcting itself on our course, on our journey. So I'm not worried about going left or swerving or whatever it is. But I genuinely believe that I learn more about myself with every decision that I make, where I put myself and what I want as a priority. And so I think that's what advice I wish someone had said to me is make yourself the priority and choose you. What about you?
I love that. I think I have two that are coming to mind, and one of them, I don't know how it's going to go. It's okay to sell out. Who invented that? What weirdo was like a sellout for like getting a job, doing a job that's not cool or that's sponsored or something like that? I mean, I don't believe in selling out. I don't believe in you host a game show and now you can't be taken seriously other places. You don't want to sell out. You don't want to cheapen yourself or something like that. I think if someone has a problem with me making money so that I can continue to take jobs that pay nothing, like, I don't fuck with you. Like, fine, I don't want you as a fan. Like, if you don't like the fact that I'm like earning money, so that I can make, the creative choices that pay me $0, like, I think that we have to be business people too.
Yeah.
And that's a tricky thing. We don't want to be, we're artists, but you have to get really comfortable with being bored and having those boring moments where you're looking at your money, you're looking at how much money you made and go, you know what, I guess I'm doing the Four Loko partnership. I'm pretty sure that's not on the market anymore. And there's times, look, like, am I gonna do a Valtrex ad? Like, there's certain things where you're like, this is something that would follow me around forever, and sometimes you have to say no to a lot of money, like I said before, or like a big opportunity. But, like I do game shows sometimes that are just like, whatever.
Oh, I'd love to do a game.
Fine. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I have a good time. It's Drew Barrymore's up in a box.
Yeah.
And we're all just being silly, and and it pays well, and I'm having a good time. But my head goes like, well, if Chappelle sees that I'm doing this, like, we have these people in our heads. Figure out who you're afraid of, and play it out. I'm afraid Chris Rock is gonna see that I'm doing a game show and think I'm corny. Okay, okay. Then what? He's Chris Rock. He knows my name? Cool. Like, find the positive in it, And I think, like, to go down the sort of thought process is like, okay, if I really want his respect, I should get a bunch of money, then take 6 months off, and then write an hour I'm super proud of that he'll then see on my Instagram later, And I think that there's just been a lot of, like, you don't want to sell out, you don't want to do this or this, I think it's taken me a long time to be like, bah.
Yeah.
The people that I want to get me for this other thing aren't going to see this anyway, and I don't think I was up for that. You know, what are we doing? And so I think respecting yourself, obviously, and saying no if it doesn't fit your spirit. But I think to be too judgmental about an opportunity that's been gifted to you from the universe, just going like, here's a money job that's kind of corny. You're gonna like be holding up a Taco Bell and fine, just make it funny, make it like work for you, and take the win. You can always say no, but I stopped overthinking stuff like that. And then also, you don't have to be ubiquitous. I think we're now in the economy of it's so hard to get people's attention. You don't need to get it all the time. I think that's when people get sick of you, because right now, you can't control how much people see you. It used to be they saw you a couple times a year. Now it's like with TikTok, they could be seeing you, that you could be overwhelming someone.
Literally.
You could be like annoying if you've only worked twice in 1 year, done two, because it's like all over TikTok or whatever, YouTube. So, I look at the careers that I admire. Beyonce, like, you don't hear from her. And then out of nowhere, she's just like dropped something. She doesn't give you notice. She's not hyping something up. Like to really like wait till you have the A+ thing. And sometimes you just gotta wait. Is it a B? Is it a B? Is it an A-? Just what's another month gonna do? Measure twice, cut once. We're in such a rush to get the thing out that we wanna do. But I'm really big on going like just hold. Beyonce, she doesn't miss.
Yeah.
She takes the time that she needs. She goes away and takes the time that she needs. She doesn't even tell us it's coming. And how excited do we get?
Yeah.
Whereas we're all the people that are like, in 3 months, this thing's gonna come out. And Donald Glover. We don't hear from him a lot. But as soon as a Donald Glover thing comes out, we're like, gotta watch it.
Love him.
So I think that for me, thank you, I think I'd rather people, when they hear my name, go, oh, I can't wait to see what this is, instead of like, oh yeah, I see her all the time. But are kind of indifferent.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense.
It's like talking to, when you talk, make sure it counts. It's okay to not talk in meetings that much, but when you do, just kill it.
Yeah.
Sorry, speed round.
Should we do
Sorry.
our speed round?
Yes.
Okay. Should we go back and forth? Or
Yes.
do you wanna do this
Okay, yes.
I'm going to ask you one. Okay. Morning person or evening person?
I don't take Adderall anymore, so evenings, because I do stand up. Mornings.
Okay.
You?
Okay. Evening.
Evening. Diplomatic or direct?
I think diplomacy is important. But I'm a black woman, so I often traffic in confrontation without being confrontational. I think you can confront a difficult thing without being confrontational.
Some people can't take a fucking hint, though.
Right.
Diplomacy doesn't work for dumb people.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta just say it.
Just say it. Beaches or mountains?
Mountains. I don't do beaches.
You don't do beaches.
Sand is just blonde dirt.
Yeah.
I think it's weird that we roll around in it.
Blonde dirt.
Sickening.
Somebody says same.
I'll die on this hill.
I like. It depends upon the beach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, my turn. Introvert, extrovert, or both?
100% introvert.
Huh?
You are both.
See, here's the thing though. I didn't know the definition of this word until recently, which is that introverted doesn't mean you're shy. Or it means you don't derive energy from extroverts derive energy from socializing, whereas introverts, it costs us energy to socialize. Not that you're like annoying, it just costs energy. You need time to recharge. I'm definitely that.
Introvert? That's surprising.
That doesn't. I will not talk to anyone for 4 days after this. I will
that true?
go away. Yeah.
Okay. Participating in sports or watching them?
It depends on the sport. I don't pickleball. I don't participate or watch.
Same.
It's enough with that shit. Participate, but not these days.
Why not these days?
I'm not gonna roll my ankle for a, what?
Touch football.
What are we, 5? No.
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 I have nothing to prove on Thanksgiving. Sweets or salty snacks?
If it's cocktail with it, it's a salty snack.
Like it.
If it's a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, it's sweet.
Love it.
What about you?
Whatever my son didn't eat. Literally.
iPad or notepad?
Depends on what it is. Journaling at night it's homework. I started doing it 20 minutes a night, have to do it, all the things I need to get done tomorrow. So it's really helped with my insomnia. Instead of going, I need to do this, if you just write it down and get it out of your brain, it's someone else's, it's my journal's problem, right? Yeah. But I discovered something called the Free Write. It is a typewriter that has no internet on it. And you can email your document to itself.
Oh, good.
Right, or to yourself. I also have a dumb phone now.
Good.
I have an iPhone, but I have a Samsung that has no internet on it. And I use that when I'm like working. So I have to work really hard to kind of make sure that I'm not distracted by the
Separating.
internet. Yeah. Ooh, my turn. 10 minutes early or 10 minutes late? Whoa, you. It's not fair if you
Aaron?
if you live in LA. That's not fair. That's not fair.
No, it's definitely 10 minutes late. I'm not ashamed. What about you?
But does that come from having been early for so long and getting there and being like, why is everyone 40 minutes late? So you're like, I'm just gonna no, okay.
Never.
Trying to defend you.
Except when it comes to set, then I'm always there. I don't like to make the crew wait, and that's why my crew loves me.
Yep.
What about you?
That's
10 minutes
it.
early or 10 minutes late?
I am usually 10 minutes early. I'm usually 10 minutes early.
Okay.
Yeah. It depends. Zooms now, you're like, ugh.
I think I know this one. Having a best friend or a big group of friends?
It used to be the latter. Mm-hmm. Now it's the former.
Yeah, I think kids do that to you.
Interesting.
Kids make you whittle down, because you want everybody around your kid.
Yeah, that's right. You really
don't really want.
And you know what else does it? Success.
Yep.
You find out who your friends are pretty fast. Cold plunge or meditation?
Cold fucking plunge.
No.
Who does a cold plunge in here?
No.
Yes, of course. Who does a cold plunge? Anybody? Yes, she does it. Yes. Who does a cold plunge? Yes, guys, it's life changing. Cold plunge.
Every day?
I don't. What are you talking about? No, not every day. But I will do a cold. Absolutely, I'll do a cold plunge. Absolutely.
You know what? I do need to freeze my eggs.
Yes. Okay. Last one. Oh no. Yeah. Pause time or rewind.
Rewind.
Pause.
I'm not going back out there. Back?
Oh, okay. Now
Pause.
rewinding. Pause.
Yeah. What about
Pause. I don't understand the question.
Me either.
Okay, go ahead.
you? Authenticity at its finest.
Authenticity.
See, it made you like her more. Would you rather always tell the truth or always hear the truth?
Both. I want to hear it and I want to.
Having endless knowledge or endless imagination?
Oh, imagination.
Yeah.
Imagination.
Knowledge changes.
Yeah, but also imagination is a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And you can imagine yourself in any scenario and could take you away from some of the worst
Also,
moments.
I've decided I'm over knowledge.
Yeah. It's going to happen.
What are we
anyway.
doing? You know, it's like I grew up, you know, I went to a high school where in the gym there was a painting of the first Thanksgiving, and it was a bunch of Native Americans and pilgrims having like a fun dinner. Like that's how I grew up thinking that went, you know? And then you become an adult and you're like, wait, that wasn't, what? Like, is anything, remember the food pyramid that was like, it was like just bread, you know? So I've gotten kind of obsessed with that because I've spent so much time trying to be smart and have knowledge and this will make me valuable and successful. I'm more into wisdom now. And I heard this quote recently that I love that I can't stop sharing with people of the difference between intelligence and wisdom. Intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, but wisdom is knowing not to put it in the fruit salad.
And on that note,
Open the buffet, let's see if they did.
yeah, that's a good
You know,
one.
so it's like I think we all spend so much time trying to get smart. It's like, let's try to get wise. Sometimes it's like, you know,
Yeah, 100%.
I think more about that.
I love that, Whitney. Thanks for chatting.
Thank
This
you.
is
I hope
amazing.
you guys
Thanks for having
got
me.
something out of it.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Love that.
Thank y'all so much. Everybody give it up for Karen and
you.
Whitney.